Welcome to Synagogues of Illinois, Part 25. This is our fifth episode focusing on Jewish houses of worship and institutions within Chicago proper. We start out in Peterson Park, a block in west from the intersection at Lincoln and Devon. Camera's looking at Maor Torah. It's the yeshiva for Orthodox high school boys. The building was acquired a couple years or so ago. It had previously been for close to 50 years the home of A.G. Beth Israel, a traditional synagogue. It closed up and merged with another congregation. One can see past the parking lot another building. It is another Orthodox shul. It is known as KJBS, which stands for Kehillat Jacob Beth Samuel. Congregation Kehillat Jacob merged into Beth Samuel in the 1950s when it departed from the old west side of the city. One can still see the old Beth Jacob synagogue building standing in the North Lawndale area in our videos highlighting old closed synagogues of Chicago. Rabbi Aaron Liebtag has been a spiritual leader now for the past few years, but for many, many years this congregation was affectionately known as Rabbi Frank Shul. The camera does an about face and heads back east to Lincoln on Devon, and then it makes a right and goes south on Lincoln up to Kimball Avenue. But a couple blocks down on Lincoln we see another large synagogue building. It is a Hasidic Orthodox congregation. It is called Or Yisachar Chodorov. Its rabbi is Pinchas Eichenstein, and it also hosts a kollel for adult education learning. We continue going northeast on Lincoln a couple more blocks until we get to Kimball, then swing a left to go a block south, and at the corner here is Congregation Das B'nai Yisrael, also a transplant from the old west side. Back before similar sounding name synagogues moved into Chicago, one simply had to say the Adas, and they know which congregation you meant. We stay on Kimball and go about 2 or 3 more blocks south until we get to Peterson Avenue, make a right and go west a couple blocks. On the south side of the street we see a building that we know used to be the home to Rabbi Shmuel First as the spiritual leader. However, there currently isn't any signage and we're not sure if the building is used anymore. Directly across the street on the north side is the actual offices of Agudas Israel of Illinois. We're not certain if any services are held there or still across the street or a combination of both. The next block further west also plays peekaboo with a synagogue. The office building with the trees hiding its frontage is also the home to a congregation based tefillah, where our good friend Rabbi Henech Plotnik is its spiritual leader. The camera does another about face and heads a little more than a half a mile east on Peterson Avenue back to Jersey Avenue, makes a right and goes a couple blocks further south, and we see Congregation Ahavas Achim. Its spiritual leader for many years has been Rabbi Moshe Soloveitchik. Some would call this the southern post of West Rogers Park, while others would call this area North Park. Regardless, there are not as many Jews living in this section of the north side as there were maybe 50 years ago. But the camera continued another half mile or so further south until it got to Foster Avenue, made a right, and continued further west on Foster another half mile until it reached the Telze Yeshiva campus. It is an educational facility for both Orthodox high school boys and college-age students as well. Back in the 1960s, the building was home to the Das B'nai Yisrael. After it had left the west side and before it moved to the location previously shown near Lincoln and Kimball. The building on the left at one time had been the Jewish home for the blind. There is one more minyan that we are aware of within the Chicago city limits in the Hollywood Park area, a couple blocks east back to Kimball and about another half a mile or so to the south. It meets in a nondescript bungalow cottage and is known as the Young Israel of Chicago. For many years it was the only branch of Young Israel in the Chicago area prior to the establishment of the Young Israel of West Rogers Park and the Young Israel of Skokie. It's possible that the congregation still functions, although barely. Any omissions are accidental. One can check out our videos on closed Chicago synagogues, including North Lawndale, West Garfield Park, Austin, East Humboldt Park, and West Humboldt Park. We will next check out synagogues in the nearby suburbs. So, bye for now and see you soon.